Welcome back to SwitchCorner. Today we're going to be taking a look at my favourite deals across the Switch eShops, covering the US, Canada, UK, EU and AU. Here in this video, any price goes, and while we do have, I will say, a few budget entries this week, I'd suggest if you're looking for the cheaper side of the eShop, take a look at our Thursday edition, where we keep everything sub $10. So with that, as always, then we do have two winners to announce today as we go through the video. We do this giveaway every single week, so if you do want to enter for a chance to win this week, it's simple. Just drop a comment down below and I'll be announcing the winners in next Saturday's episode. Alright, so with that, hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here, join our growing family, and let's get started. So first up today, Rhythm fans, it's a good week for you, that is for sure. So let's start with one of the 4 Rhythm games on sale right now, Voez. This game was super early in the Switch's life cycle. In fact, I think it was maybe the week of the console release, maybe the week after. Gotta say though, it stood the test of time. Now initially on release, this was the first game that was touchscreen only. Since then though, it has been patched and it now does play in docked mode as well. So basically it works for everyone. Me personally, I'm sticking to the touchscreen though, because I do think it's the best way to experience it. Now I will say now, this was originally an iOS game and a heavy microtransaction one at that, but here with the Switch build they did away with any of the microtransaction junk and unlock everything from the very beginning. With 50% off right now, it's the best price we've ever seen, and content wise it is solid. Over 100 tracks, multiple difficulties. The game uses like a lane based system, so you'll be jumping around for all the notes. It can get pretty challenging. And then a story mode set around a group of high school students looking to form a band and chase after stardom. I was impressed though, some might be put off by a more obscure track list. It's still covering good old synth, pop, electronic, just more obscure artists. And then the visuals as well, I just want to say they may seem simple, but in action it's a lot more impressive as it all kind of starts moving around the screen and it really matches the music well. Sniper Elite now, and while both 2 and 3 are on sale, I do want to focus on Fee 2 today because this is a new all-time low price, and honestly I preferred this one over the third entry. We'll say there though I am, or at least it seems I'm in the minority with that statement. Here though you're going to be jumping into World War II and kicking some serious ass. Not a huge amount to it honestly. Grab your sniper rifle and then head out on these missions. The missions are basically like mini sandboxes, meaning get your target, have an idea of where they are, but how you get to them is completely down to you. Will you find a machine gun and go Rambo on everyone, or stealth your way through this world, so no one ever knew you were there? Well, the game does have some moments where it forces specific actions on you, though it does give you a lot of freedom. And I gotta say, look, you're gonna get a ton of gameplay for your cash, a lengthy single player campaign, 4 co-op modes, local and online multiplayer, all DLC content, motion controls, and then of course remastered visuals. It's an absolute steal at this point, and if you like your war-based shooters, this is one of the few available on the Switch right now. Unfortunately, it's a really good one with 66% off. Continuing the rhythm game theme now, Neon Drive, and if a game had visuals I love, this is probably the one. It's not the longest of games, I'll put that out there now, but the 60% off and new all-time low price, I honestly think it's worth an add to the collection. It's not perfect, but look, if you're a synthwave fan, I'd probably say head here, even if you're like an 80s fan too. Here the idea is simple though, basically you're dodging upcoming barriers. How that works kind of varies by game mode. The music is here and definitely the rhythm helps, but it's not the traditional, hit notes with perfect timing style of gameplay. Here, I said it already though, the visuals were what got me, as they throw a ton of influences in here, and before you know it, you won't just be driving a car on the road, but flying in an airplane, flying in like a Back to the Future style car, and even taking control of a mech that for sure could probably lead to some copyright issues from Transformers. It ramps the difficulty quickly, but I like this one for like 15 minutes here and there. I'm also a sucker for 2 things, high scores and then neon, and neon here is in the name, as well as on full display. Not a perfect game, but as I say, high score chasing, I found some fun here and I found reason to return. ATOMICROPS now, and then our first winner of the week. We spoke about this game probably a couple of months back now when it first went on sale, and now it's actually hitting a new all-time low. Here we basically get a combination of Stardew Valley with some roguelike elements as well as good old run and gun gameplay. The idea is unique though, I'll say that now. Basically you find yourself in this post-apocalyptic world where nuclear blast, it just destroyed everything except for the last farm, and that just happens to be your farm. So in the daytime you're growing your crops, and then on the night you're protecting them from all sorts of monsters and mutants. Along the way, expect to see of course your skills grow, weapons improve, you can obviously spend cash, and then you can even get married. I found it a little slow to start with, and it could have done with a little bit more on the guidance front personally, like how the hell does everything work, but kind of once I got past that initial challenge, I actually found a lot to like, and it takes two well-loved like gameplay styles, meshes them together, and somehow it kind of makes it work. 30% off though, it makes this one well worth a consideration for that library. So our first winner of the week then, Brian, who commented on the mighty Ni no Kuni that got a monster 70% off, and in my eyes, a masterpiece of design. While it breaks no boundaries on the RPG front, the involvement of Studio Ghibli just absolutely like elevated it. If you're interested, I will say as well, it's still on sale till the 22nd of September in the US and Canada. Congrats O'Brien, drop me an email, it's in the description down below to claim your code. Second winner then coming up, but as always first, let's take a look at some more games. So now another super cheap one for you, Golazo, and this is a hidden gem in my opinion. If you're old enough to remember Sensible Soccer, this kind of reminds me of like an isometric take on that game, where they just kind of like, you know, dial up the arcade nature of it, also think like power-ups, no rules and the like. This would be good actually if you thought Captain Tsubasa looked fun, but you didn't want that hefty price tag. This one though, we're getting single player, cup mode and league mode, local multiplayer for up to 4 players, 52 national teams, some fantastic animations and character design, and even a VHS filter if you want it to feel, you know, like super old school. Pre-COVID, when people actually had the chance to interact with each other, this was one I enjoyed a lot with local multiplayer, but right now I still find myself turning to the league mode. With 70% off, it drops the price dramatically, and yeah, underappreciated is probably the best way to sum this one up. Okay, so a US exclusive now, and a recent release actually, Jenny LeClue, a game I wanted to review and it took me a little longer to actually wrap up than I went in expecting, so now it's actually getting a shout out here where they've actually reintroduced now the launch discount of 20% off. This actually took me about 10 hours to work my way through, and while the visuals, no question, they initially, you know, caught my attention, it was actually the story and just the overall mystery that kept me coming back. Most similar to a point and click adventure with free movement though, you'll basically be working your way around town trying to uncover the mystery of a murder where your own mother is suspect number 1. Fantastic writing, stunning voice acting, and the animation is just really impressive. I liked this one a lot, and I think the price point more than fair given the length of the game. With this one as well, I gotta say, it even leaves a few unanswered questions, and hopefully that means there's gonna be a sequel sometime soon. I cannot wait to get back into this world. Okay, so let's follow that one up with a UK EU AU exclusive now, Shinsekai Into the Depths. I reviewed this one back on release, but this is a stunning Metroidvania where instead of, you know, really breaking that core like gameplay formula, they change things up by using a unique setting. That setting is underwater, and you'll basically find yourself either platforming or piloting a like submarine. Didn't go in expecting a huge amount from this one, honestly. I was hopeful, don't get me wrong, but I walked away super impressed. The mechanic of being underwater allows for some like real creativity, as you almost use like a jetpack, and then the puzzles were solid, making you think not only about what was to your left and right, but also above and below you. It allowed a lot more freedom than I'm typically used to. Throw in stamina then to really drive up that intensity. It's all based around an oxygen meter, and yeah, it may start relatively relaxed, but quickly it's going to ramp up and you'll be on the edge of your seat. Metroidvania fans, I will say, consider taking a look here. It's a rare, smaller release from the folks over at Capcom. Before our second winner then, another rhythm game. As I say, it's a good week for rhythm fans, but Cytus Alpha. This is one of the most unique rhythm games I have ever played. It also never seems to get a huge sale and does definitely easily mark the most expensive game on today's list. I'm losing hope we'll ever see it much lower, so it's getting its shout out now. Here it's going to look intimidating at first, but get into it and somehow it all kind of like clicks and makes sense. Basically, we have a line that goes up and down the screen, and you need to hit these notes as that line passes over them. While most rhythm games I actually prefer docked, this one is for sure like best played with the touchscreen. It's just an incredibly like intuitive experience. While the price is high, I will say as well, content wise, it's got a lot to keep you coming back. And there's a story mode, online score battles, not that I ever find anyone playing this one unfortunately, different difficulties, but then most importantly of course the songs, 200 of them, covering house, techno, pop, classical, all of it. So it should have everyone's tastes covered. A great game with a price point that no doubt puts people off, but maybe, just maybe, this 30% off will make you feel that little bit better. So our second winner of the week then, Nerd Giant, great name, shouting out Ease this week, and they love the old ones basically, so now they're excited to jump into that one. They were also picking up WWE 2K Battlegrounds as well. I reviewed it over on the channel to some interesting reactions, shall we say, but yeah, check that out if you haven't already. Congrats on Nerd Giant, drop me an email to claim your code. Everyone else, drop a comment down below for your chance to win this week. Now our final 3 games, and we're kicking it off with my pickup, Nowhere Profit. I've actually honestly had this sitting in the collection a while, but not got really round into playing it too much. I keep hearing really good things about it though. There's always like folks in the comments pushing me to shout it out and talk about it. So now I'm giving it like a fair chance. I'm actually a fair few hours in at this point, but I want to give it some real time and see if it's as good as everyone seems to believe. Basically though, with this one we have a card deck battle system, but they've ramped the difficulty up to 11 as you take on this role of like a powerful leader taking his followers on a journey of survival. So think here, randomly generated maps to traverse and then permadeath. That's really where it's going to kick your ass. With 300 cards though, there's a lot of depth on offer and the story seems solid, this far at least, with that post-apocalyptic vibe that's always honestly a selling point for me. If you like your card deck games though and want a real challenge, this is no doubt for you. 40% off right now. As always I just want to like say, not played enough to give it a full recommendation, but more maybe you want to join me for the ride. So our penultimate game of the week then, this one is Deemo, another rhythm game, the final rhythm game of the week. And if you haven't worked it out already, 3 of the 4, they come from the same dev. They made this one, Cytus, and then Voez. While I do think Cytus is the best entry, the price is just so high that I would recommend this as your go-to if you're looking to, you know, save some cash. This is a little bit more chilled as well than Voez and Cytus, meaning the difficulty isn't quite here, but content-wise again, monster game, over 200 songs, a really good story, and yeah, touchscreen controls again or docked. Like this one the most though because of the story. In fact, it did a lot more than the others, and while few will come here looking for a story, it's for sure worth diving into. You'll be surprised actually how like engaging it is. So our final game of the week then, easy pick, US and Canada exclusive also, but Darkest Dungeon, an absolute masterpiece of a game, and I'd go as far as to say one of the hardest games on the console as well. Here though, you'll be tackling this like gothic world and taking on a roguelike turn-based RPG where you'll be basically heading into battle, managing your team, monitoring their setup, their attributes, any afflictions, so think like stress or trauma, looking after 16 different classes, following a deep story with a ton of content. And yeah, you'll need to stick with this one, you'll need to give it some time because it's hard as hell as well. I hear just of countless folks jumping in and giving up near immediately. Well, I'll say this, just don't do that. You're missing out on one of the best games on the console right now. There is a steep learning curve, but the reward at the end of it, a huge level of satisfaction. Could spend all day talking about this one, but I'll keep it simple. Check out some reviews and consider it a must buy from me. Lowest price ever now as well with 40% off. It even has a physical release that maybe you'll want to hunt down. And that is it, another week done. Will you be adding anything to your collection, or is your bank account, you know, kind of tapped out like mine? The last 3 days we've had Mario, we've had 2K Battlegrounds, The Long Dark, that review's actually live over on the channel right now, Hades, and then Ori. Crazy few days as Nintendo just absolutely nailed the landing with that latest Direct. So with that then, like a shout out to the patrons who are just going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then look, hit subscribe if you love the Switch, as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.